Another powerful feature of a list is the ability to be able to modify it, which is something that you can't do with a tuple. So, what I'm going to be showing you now is several different functions that allow us to edit, modify, insert and delete things from a list. So as you can see, I've just got a basic list set up which goes from 1 to 11 like we did in the last video, and then we're just going to print out a variable called item. So we're going to create the variable called item. Actually, first of all, I'll change this over to list and I'll do inserting. So with a list you can append something. So if I did list dot append, and if I appended number 12, then at the end of the list you get the number 12. Now this is quite a useful function because it will allow us to add and subtract things from a list should we ever need to. And the next thing that we're going to do is we can extend a list, and the way that we extend lists is I'm going to create a second list and I'm going to just have 12, 13, 14 in that, and if I extend it with list 2, then if we output list, we now get list 1 and list 2 combined together, and list 2 is added to the end of list 1. So whatever parameter we put inside of here is added to the end of the parameter that we're concatenating it onto. So here you can see we've got a full stop, and that's just to show that we have a function acting upon the object, which is the list in this case. Okay, so now that we know how to insert and we know how to append, and we also know how to extend, there's also, if we wanted to put something in the middle here, so if I wanted to add a number 12 between the 5 and the 6, then we can see we've got 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so index 5, so if we do list dot extend insert, now this takes two parameters. The first one's in the index and the next one's the item, so I'm just going to add index 5 and item is 12, and you can see here between the 5 and the 6 we now get the number 12 added, so we get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 12, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, so on. Now this is something which is quite useful if you were to again use it for a user system or something with a similar effect to that. You'll be able to insert any specific data at any index that you wish, so it allows us to change certain things. Now if we wanted to edit index 5 instead of insert a new thing there, what we do is we do list and the index is 5 and we put it equal to, and then I'll change that to 12, and where we have number 6 now, we now have number 12 instead. So if we want to edit something, we use the selector which we did before. And the same can be said if we add the selector and the step. So as you can see, because we're editing it and we have the index of 5 here, now that we had the index of 12, the value of 12 added to where the index of 5 should be, so where we have 6 up here is now converted to 12. Now we can also use maths functions here, so if we wanted to have it so it came up as a specific value again, so this one instead now we're multiplying it by 2, then we get the value from here and we multiply it by 2. So you can see that even though these two sides are exactly the same, if we exclude the multiply by 2, the assignment means that whatever value is taken from here is now added to here. So the assignment, which I've mentioned before as being a single equal sign, is a very important operator because it is one of the main things that we use within any programming language, and especially Python. So as you can see, with the assignment we can do any form of function that we wish, any form of operation that we wish, so whether it's maths based or whether it's just a simple string assignment or an object assignment, you can choose how you want to add something to this. Now if we look at looking at deleting a section of the list, then what we can do is say if we have a list of 5 and we want it to step by 2 towards the 5 to 7. I'll do it that way first. then what you can see is we can delete that sequence by typing del and then list 5 to 7. And now where we did have number 5 to 7, you can see we've lost number 6 and number 7 within this within the list, which is where number 5 and 7, the index of 5 to 7 is. So there's also another way in which we can remove something within a list, and that is using the remove function. So if we remove here, now this searches for a value and then removes that value, so you can't put an index in here. Instead what we're looking at is putting a value. So I'm going to put number 9, it'll find a number 9 and it'll remove number 9. Now index of 9 is actually 1, 2, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. It's actually the number 10. So as you can tell, since the number 10 is still here, it's removing the value of 10. The way we can prove this is if I was to add the string of 1 and remove the string of 1. Now you can see there's no actual difference here, and that is because the string is added and then removed. So this here is what we're removing, is the value, it's not the index. So if that value isn't in there, for example if I search for 2, it throws this exception, which I've showed you before how you can catch the exception and how you can return a certain value based on that exception. So because I've shown you how you can do that, all you need to do is simply because I've shown you how you can catch an exception, all you need to do now is, because you can see it's a value error, you catch it based on a value error and you can return whatever value you need based on that. There's one more function which we can cover, and that is the reverse function. If you want to remove something from one end of the actual, if you want to append something to there's one more function which we can look at, which is the reverse function. Now if you want to add something to the beginning, there isn't actually a prepend function, but what you can do is you can reverse it and then append something which will add it to the now far right hand side, which is actually the left hand side as it currently stands. So if we were to reverse, you'll see that we get the list in the opposite direction. So now if we were to append the value as 0 and then reverse it again, you'll see that it's effectively the same as prepending something. Now although this is a slightly awkward workaround, it works perfectly fine and it is one I would recommend that you go with. There is alternate methods of doing it, but I won't show you how you do that because this is the easiest and the probably best way of doing it. So thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video.